Elliot from the Bear Pit TV, and this is your preferred 11 video for Wednesday night's game against Southampton. Now we go on from the Arsenal game at the weekend. You know, it's the hope that kills you. I've said it plenty of times now. It's just when you get in the lead, Charlie Adams strokes that penalty home. You know, you've got the hope, and you know we're still yet to take anything away from a game at the Emirates. But you never know. Hopefully next season we can turn that around. And you know, when Arsenal come to the Britannia, or the Bet365, whatever you want to call it, we always seem to get something. So you know, we'll get our own back. We'll hopefully get our own back. But this is my preferred 11 for the game against Southampton. Going into it, there's a couple of injury slight worries. Mark Hughes come out in his press conference today, says Menezes has got a bang on the knee, but we'll get that checked. And he also says Glenn Johnson's got a bit of an eye problem at the moment, which they're hoping will settle down, a sort of infection. Now, if those two injuries get any worse and both of those guys are out, I'm struggling to think we've got left to play in defence. So hopefully, I'm going to do this preferred 11 on the assumption that both of them make it past those fitness checks. And let's hope they do, or we're going to be screwed. So in goal, Lee Grant, of course. I don't think you could do too much about the goals at the weekend. You could maybe say that Ozil's header, you could maybe blame Lee Grant's position. I don't know. I think that's been extra harsh. But obviously Lee Grant stays in goal because we've got no other alternatives. There's still no word on the Jack Butland situation, which is a bit of a worry. But obviously Lee Grant goes in goal. Now for me, if they are all fit, we stick with pretty much the same back five, back three, whatever you want to call it. So that's Glenn Johnson, Bruno Martins Indy, Mark Menezes with Eric Peters as a left wing back and Mama Biram Jufa as a right wing back. I did think there was moments at the weekend's game where Eric could have done a lot better. You know, with just some of his passing, just some of his position. And I think Mama Jufa is still getting used to that role on the right. And obviously, it's not going to be perfect. There was a couple of times where we were very exposed out on that wing. But you know, hopefully, you know, this is a home game. It's another game of the back 4, 5, whatever you want to call it, gelling. So hopefully they're all a lot better in those positions. Going into midfield, Ginelli and Bula, again, I will give a game. I think he had one of his poorer games against Arsenal. He often gave the ball away, which was very, very frustrating. And sometimes it was in positions where you don't expect him to start a move, you know, on the edge of our box or in, you know, the first third. I'd expect him to try it much further up the pitch. But, you know, again, back to a home game. Let's hope he can, you know, Mark Hughes giving him time off or giving him a bollocking, just saying, listen, do this in the right places. We want you to do it. We want you to go and take people on and start attacks for us, but do it in the right places at the right time. Now, for me, Charlie Adam did score a penalty, but I was screaming at Mark Hughes to get him off from about the 60th minute. I think a lot of other people agreed that he was sort of flaggy and he was having the greatest of games apart from the goal. So for me, I'm going to drop him for Wednesday's game against Southampton. I'm going to bring in Glenn Whelan just to give us that bit more assurance in the central midfield position, a bit more a defensive player, because Charlie's more known to attack. And for me, Glenn Whelan sits alongside Gianelli and Bula. Now, Joe Allen is going to be the top of the pivot, as always. He won the penalty at the weekend. I think he was one of the better players, but he always is. He always is one of our better players. You know, he runs around tirelessly, never stops working. I don't think he stops ever. I think he runs home. He just runs off the pitch, runs into the dugout, runs into the shower, and just runs straight home and then runs back for training the next day. I think the front three picks itself. They all stay in those positions again. So you're going to have Shaqiri, Joe Allen and Arnautovic. A front three, a false nine if you'd like to call it that. No out and out really striker. You'd hope that Arnie pushes in there and Shaqiri pushing there, more of an inside forward. But I'd like to see what we can do with this at home. We played it away from home and it was a bit of a gamble. We'd never used it before, and you know, let's just see what this can do at home. It reminds me back to last Christmas period when we tried the false nine and we had Bojan in this sort of position as a false striker. So I want to see how it works Wednesday's game, and hopefully we can use this in the weekend for Leicester as well if it all does go well. But you know, this is the formation that we tore apart Man City with. This is a formation that we tore apart Man United with over the festive period last season. So for me, it's got to be Arnautovic, Joe Allen and Shaqiri, and with no obvious sort of striker where all three of those players can sort of interchange when and needed. So just to run through my team again, that's Lee Grant in goal with Glenn Johnson, Mark Menezes and Bruno Martins Indy at the back. Eric Peters as a wing back, Mamadou as a wing back, Mbula, Glenn Whelan, and a front three of Alan, Shaqiri and Arnautovic. So that is my team for Wednesday night's game. Let me know in the comments if you agree below. Let me know if you would swap Adam for Whelan. Let me know if you would even play that formation, or if you'd go back with the striker up top, if you play Wilfred Boney or Juve up there, or maybe John Walters gets a return to the side. Let me know in the comments below. Do like the video if you have enjoyed it, and just leave a like if you haven't anyway, because it always helps. And subscribe if you're new, and thank you for watching.